against my enemies, yeah. You see, you wanted to save you, and then learn how to raise you.
Oh,
But I
hello
forget you
there,
from the
bitches.
Come stop, bitches.
What is up? I'm Rob.
I'm Eamon.
Monster Fuzz is in the building. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're having a good day wherever you may be. Oh boy, I know I had a good day.
Did you have a good day?
Always.
Sure, you were up.
When don't I have a good day?
I've been around a few days now, and you know,
It's always great.
yeah. Life is a.
So, yeah.
Every day is a winding road.
Yeah.
And sometimes it winds left and sometimes it winds right. Meanders, if you will. But you know, you have to live it, man.
You do.
That's the one thing about life. It fucking goes on.
We have today an episode about a man called Donald Shrum.
Yeah, he won all the things you can win. No, different guy. This episode is the reason that I like cryptidy, monstery podcast stuff. This is the quintessential cryptid alien adventure episode.
I'm excited.
That frankly we need more of in our real lives.
I'm excited.
This is fun. This is just fun.
Right.
We're going to have fun together. If your day has been bad to this point, it's about to get at least 2% better.
Class.
This is class. And we'll get to the point, this whole episode, summarize this episode.
Right.
Man in tree escapes alien robots.
Okay.
It's fantastic. This is why we do this podcast.
Right, well, that's exciting stuff there, folks. So before we get into it, I'd like to remind everyone to check out our Patreon. This is the best way to support this podcast and to help continue with its development.
Yeah.
You can head on over, check out Discord. You get exclusive access to 800 episodes approximately.
Is it?
No.
Approximately, though.
It's probably
550.
50 something on Patreon. 50 exclusives. A few other bits in there as well. Yeah. You can pay for the year if you like. You'll get 2 months for free if you happen to do that. Works out a bit better, you know. Class. If you have any cryptid encounters or spooky experiences and you would like to have them featured on our mini fuzzes, where should they go, Eamon?
Have you ever been in a tree? Pearl Jam song called Up Here in My Tree.
What
It's called
album's
In
that?
My Tree, but it starts, he says, Up Here in My Tree.
What album's that?
Eddie Vedder. It's on No Code, which is quite a good album, but... was Eddie Vedder talking about Donald Shrum?
Yeah.
I don't think he likes Donald Trump, but maybe he would have loved Donald Shrum. Who's to know? Monsterfuzzpodcast at gmail.com.
Real quick before we get into it, we did questions on last week's mini fuzz, and there was 2 that came in while we were recording that I missed, so I'm just going to literally do a bang on them. Steph wrote in and asked, what would we do in a zombie apocalypse with slow moving zombies, not 28 days later zombies? Be grand, easy.
Stick to the roof, stick to the water.
Yeah.
Supplies.
Boats. I think Steph's in Australia, she could relate. Everywhere in Ireland is fairly close to the water. You want to hop in a boat, get on an island.
If you're
bang,
visiting
bang,
your
bang.
in-laws and the zombie apocalypse kicks off, you're in trouble.
I am in trouble then. And
Call me and I'll go up the canals and I'll get you.
yeah, and our resident homosexual Big Al, he wrote in and asked, what is the most essential life skill? And I've got that really quickly and tell you, just came straight into my head. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. It's just really good.
That's pretty handy.
It's really important to know that.
Yeah.
It actually is
No, you're absolutely right.
the amount I've applied lefty
Even
loosey,
for your
righty tighty,
radiators, yeah, absolutely.
it's just amazing, really.
Yeah, I'll go with that as well. I think that's fair.
It's probably the best.
Yeah, lefty loosey, righty tighty.
That's all you need to know.
Oh, and the other one is beer then wine, everything's fine. Wine then beer, something to fear. So there's your 2 life lessons.
Or as Al would hope, wine and beer, I've turned a little queer. Perhaps.
We've all been there. I remember walking home with a guy, a gay guy one night, and we were both hammered, and he was just telling me how
Start
much
shifting and all. Grabbing some arse.
He started telling me about how his favorite thing to do is to turn straight guys from their wives.
I think most
when
guys
they're
are into
drunk.
that.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to get this taxi and go home to my wife whilst I'm drunk. All the best.
Your eyes, everything starts getting black, and you look down at your glass, and you're like, oh
You
no.
just close your eye. It feels the same. Don't worry. Everything's fine. everything is fine. You're just experimenting. Well, Kinsey's report would say that as you age, you're more likely to become homosexual.
Really?
But his work, sex work, that makes it sound like he was sucking dick for money. He was a sexual psychologist or psychiatrist. A lot of his work has been called into question, but that was one of the findings. And I think he started having a relationship with a man who's like in his 50s, and he's like, I think I like this now. But yeah, so it's very, very interesting.
That's always a wild sort of thing to me. People that like live a life hetero and then they're like, oh, I'm gay. In
a world where like, alien robots can try to get you out of a tree, it's possible.
Everything's possible, but there's degrees of possibility. And I get it. Like, so let's just give a hypothetical scenario there. If you're in a relationship with someone, right, and let's say you're the man, obviously, and you're going out with a girl, and she's like not into sex, for example, not into penetration, hates it. She looks at your Mickey, she's like, what the fuck is going on there? Like, then you get it. You're like, oh well, that makes sense. Like they were deep cover. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, deep state lesbians.
They were deep cover, and you get that, and they're doing it to turn up for appearances and all that. But like people who were like, well, they must be just bisexual then. If they're like, I enjoyed your pipe.
It'd be weird if you're just like you're eating dinner one day and then all of a sudden you just go, Jesus Christ! Like it just hits you. You're gay. I don't know. I was getting my hair cut there recently, and as the barber who was a male was running his hands through my hair, I had a moment. I was like, this feels nice. This feels nice.
Fair play.
And then I kind of looked at him and went, yikes. I think that, how long do you think I would, in a world filled with all the women disappear tomorrow in some sort of mad, lost type epidemic?
Elysium.
Yeah, the women go to Elysium and we stay here in the underworld. But what happens then? What? Oh, sorry, you would make an Elysium, right? I get you. Yeah, I'd say at a certain point with no women, however long it took, everyone would just wind up being gay. Eventually, you might be gay for like very effeminate looking men, but eventually you would.
You though? I'm gonna counteract that.
Because you would miss a human touch. I think, like eventually, you wouldn't necessarily.
About the human touch is right here, brother.
Your own touch, though. Like,
that's grand.
Yeah, for like
that's grand. That's grand indefinitely.
I'm happy enough with it. Like,
that's what I'm saying. That's grand indefinitely.
And with marriage, it eventually reverts to that. I'm told. So, but like I think that like you probably at some point you would just want a human touch. You want a romantic touch.
I don't know. I disagree. But that's the words of a homosexual.
Well, as I get older, I just age into wanton lust for men. It's like it's.
No, I don't think so.
I think you probably would. I think over time
you're
thinking like
bisexual people.
You just have a load of homophobes shouting at other lads in a world with no women, calling them gay for shifting each other. Like that's.
No, I don't think that would happen. No, I don't think
now, as soon as the women come back, you'd be like, sorry, Paddy, gotta go.
I'm gonna resist that. I don't think it's no. I think anyone that's like that is probably a little bit bisexual, and that's fine too.
Well,
I'm not trying to put out there that I'm like.
Mr. Kinsey did say that very few people are like. Again, his work is called into question a lot, but he did say that like very few people are just 100% straight.
Oh.
He would say he looked at you and he was like
sexual opportunity
62% straight. But
that'd be cool though if you could if there was like a sort of
if you could just go do a machine
HUD over your eye where you looked at
you could see your percentage going up and
you're 38% attracted to this person.
I was thinking about this the other day. I think it was one of those, there was some AI video and it was like gender swap. So it started like say M. Bison and then it turned into a girl version and then vice versa with Chun-Li turned into a male version and all that. But
gender bending.
So gender bending, great crack. It's the time for it. But I was watching it and I was like, oh yeah, Sagat's fairly cool looking. And then it turned into female Sagat and I was just like, I'd ride her.
Would you? Yeah.
Like,
female Sagat.
But what I mean is that.
So would you ride Marissa out of Street Fighter 6?
Not into Marissa, but
she's like.
Would you rather ride Marissa or who's like an effeminate male in Street Fighter?
Oh, like V. What's his name? It's not V. What's your man Remy? That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah, Guile. If you take him from the back, I suppose you probably wouldn't know too much. How are we where we are? These questions. Like would you rather? Sorry, I was just trying to find out how we're so deep in the weeds.
Where are we?
So would you rather Marissa? Yeah. Or Remy. I don't think I'd have much fun in either of them, to be honest with you. I would go with Marissa.
Marissa's butsy.
Ultimately, but I'd feel like I was with Zangief.
Yeah.
I feel like I was with Buck Angel, if you've ever seen that guy. Or she was a lady who transitioned to a man but kept the vagina and works in porn. So it's basically, you see a man getting...
All right.
It's wouldn't be for me now, but you know, I hope other people are like, if you like it, man, that's great for you. I'm happy for you. She seems she seems to enjoy it. I don't want to misgender. And very interesting person. She was on Joe Rogan once, and I listened to the interview, and very interesting person. Very interesting.
Alas, we digress.
As we are wont to do this. So this episode about alien robots is spoiled from the get-go. This is like when we did a Skinwalker Ranch, and I was like, oh, is this such a good... We're going to talk about the Gorman family. We're talking about getting the werewolves, all that stuff. And then it was just like...
It's Al's fault.
What would you rather have sex with, Remy or Marissa? So like even if you take the Street Fighter bit, this is what I mean. Because Remy isn't even in Street Fighter 6.
Hyper neurodivergent. I was thinking about that today. I was listening. Sometimes I'll do sessions where I'll listen back to the pod and I'm like for clips and stuff. And I was driving up to Dublin listening to us in the car, and I was like, "This is garbage." I was like, "This is the best podcast ever for millennial people who love wrestling, Street Fighter, and cryptids and aliens."
That is a lot of people.
6 people.
A lot of my friends.
So it's like just like so many absurd, stupid Street Fighter.
But like the thing that's weird is we managed to sort of splice in like I read a study about sex. It says as you get older you might become more homosexual, but then all of a sudden,
right, Marissa? Clapping cheeks.
Would you rather
I like Jory. I like Jory.
Everyone likes Jory.
I do like Jory.
You're like Jory's feet.
I'm not into feet.
No one is.
It's kind of that's a paradox.
I don't see the feet thing. Like I don't get the feet thing.
No, we're going to move on, Emma. We just have to.
I mean,
we can't.
13 minutes in, it probably is time to.
Our listeners are
they like this stuff better than the shit we're going to.
They're tolerant but appalled.
No, but to be fair, they probably like this more than when we start talking about the actual cryptid stuff.
That's brave.
Remember that time we forgot to do the intro properly, and we were like singing some song, and someone was like, "That's class."
I put that on purpose.
Did you? Because it's so silly.
Yeah.
Well, they like the silliness.
It's usually intentional. The one that was a couple of episodes ago there. Yeah. The countdown and all. No, I left that in because it was funny.
Just because it was funny, right? Yeah. Well, every episode is like that before we just got out and start.
Right, so we're going to get to the little quick intro there after that.
Would you rather ride Balrog?
On September 4th, 1964, a 28-year-old Donald Shrum and his friends were bow and arrow hunting at Cisco Grove, Placer County, California. Check it out. I can't, ladies and gentlemen, sorry, I can't talk properly because what happened, and it's one of the worst things that ever happened. I bite my tongue when I sneeze sometimes, and it's fucking horrible. Yourself. I do that because I've got a big fat tongue, and I bite down on the fucking tongue, and it's some sore. So I've got a bit of a sort of a lisp. I'm trying to
gingerly moving your tongue around.
Trying to dance the tongue around my mouth.
We've all been there.
During the afternoon of hunting, Shrum had become separated from the rest of the group, and with nightfall fast approaching, he decided to sleep in a night away in a tree for safety.
Yeah, so as you can imagine, cougars, bears, all that sort of stuff. He had he was a really, really good hiker. Like he's a hunter as well, class hiker.
Professional.
He might have had some military background, and he worked in like aerospace engineering. Like he was a painter, like and all this sort of stuff at the painter planes and stuff. Yeah, he'd do the sitting room, but then he'd go and do a missile after that, like mad lad. But he's
painting things and all.
Painting, like has mad paint and all. Like he'd have a full spectrum of paint.
He's not the only one with a full spectrum.
No, certainly at a separate end of it to the one we're on.
So he was up in the tree. Nightfall was fast approaching. He decided to sleep the night away. I just wanna sleep the night away.
Senoritas who can swing.
His attention was soon drawn, however, to the sight of a white light which zigzagged through the trees at low altitude. up there in the trees. Initially, Shrum's mind naturally gravitated towards a familiar explanation. Of course, it was a helicopter, but no, it wasn't. He believed that his friends, concerned about his absence, might have launched a search party and flares would help guide them. Little did Shrum know this light was a prelude to the most bizarre and scary night of his life. You are now about to enter the world of survival horror.
What was the other thing? There are worse things than death. But what is it she says in the remake?
Well, I don't know.
It doesn't say you're about to, it says like something is scary.
Right.
But I can't remember. Scary.
The one that plays Jill Valentine in the GameCube version sells houses now. So if anyone wants to go on a house tour,
I'd love Jill Valentine to sell me a house.
Yeah.
I would have bought the house immediately.
Julia Bott is her name. Don't ask me how I know that.
She's only that's because when that first came out, we always knew we liked Jill Valentine, and then when the GameCube remake came out, we were like, "What?" Whoa. That's when I knew I couldn't be gay until I was 50 or 60.
I knew Jill Valentine would stave me off.
I saw Barry Burton. I said, not for another 30 years, Barry.
Just your homosexual doomsday clock.
I've got
well
two decades of heterosexual, and then
it's like a fucking Persona game where it's all the time.
Like I can't wait till I first step into the panty bar at 60 years old.
Tasks to complete.
Hey fellas, what's going on? It's gonna be great.
You're a bit zesty though.
I'm the least.
A little bit zesty.
I'd be like,
you've a little bit more zest than me.
You're afraid of it. I think you have more of an internal longing for gayness than I. I'm at peace with my animus. But you're like, oh no, I gotta fight it back.
No.
I've accepted what I am. You're fighting back.
Listen, I like beautiful men.
You're fighting back a sea of thieves that come at you at speed every day.
No man, look, I can appreciate a good-looking man. Do you know what I'm saying? But you're zesty.
But can you appreciate him making breakfast for you in the morning, Rob? Or do you need to wait for 20 to 30 more years?
I'm going to be candid. The thoughts of that now was not for me.
I wouldn't like it. I don't like the thoughts of it. But like I said, 20 more years, who's to know? When you're 60, life begins when you're...
You know, if it was an opportunistic bum, who knows? But if it
was one and done,
I don't know.
But what if you did that once and you just couldn't get it out of your head? You're like, every time you go to sleep, you're like, oh, I can't.
No, it is legitimately an alien concept to me. Like, I don't think I could vibe with it.
I'm curious though, because
I'm being honest. Like, I'm just being honest.
Most gay guys wind up having sex with women at least a couple of times.
Yeah.
Maybe before they fully take that step across the river. Yeah. But like, I wonder for them, like, because it doesn't seem, at least to the friends I talk to. No, but like, I don't even think they hate it. I think they're just like,
I do think they hate it. Like, a lot of lesbians are like, this is like a fucking foreign body entering me, or this penis.
Yeah, but I wonder.
Like, a lot of them don't even like phallic shit. Like, now some of them do, but a lot of them don't.
So where is Cisco Grove? Where could it be? In a land where men fornicate freely with one another. So Cisco Grove, it's a small...
What's wrong with you? Look,
man.
I just trying to drink tea. We have alien trees.
A decade and a half of riding women, and then it's over. It's done. Okay. So Cisco Grove, so where they were, it's a small unincorporated community in Placer County in California. It's relatively near to Sierra Nevada mountains. It's situated along Interstate 80, and it's 70 miles northeast of Sacramento. The elevation is nearly 2,000 meters, and the area has historical significance as a stop along the early transcontinental railroads, and it was a minor hub for travelers and goods moving through the Sierras in the 19th and early 20th centuries. And as lads would advance in their age,
Yes.
they would stop and they would have a casual bum, which might have turned into something more serious. Maybe Mr. Kinsey based some of his research on this.
Maybe.
And there you go. It was named after the nearby Cisco boot and Cisco station.
Tong, 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 tong. Woo! Let me see that tongue.
Oh, baby, can I see that? But.
And Cisco.
I would put it to you that that's the most gay song that's ever been released.
Cisco had zest.
He's definitely zesty.
He had more zest than a bag of lemons.
Yeah.
So he did now, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
But I'd say now, look, I'm saying he's zesty. I'd say that fella now, he's had more minge now than I've had hot dinners. You know?
You've had a good few hot dinners.
I have had a lot of hot dinners.
Like, that could be a close. Yeah, but I'd say he's taking a walk on the wild side, probably, so to speak.
Yeah, there's a bit of a zest to him.
There is, yeah, he's a bit of a lime rind. Now, as the crow flies, Cisco Grove is 400 miles from Area 51. Is that important? Will we see? Is that important? It could be.
It's always important.
But other people have said, no.
Right, it's not. It's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. But Rob, tell us more about what was actually happening when you find the notes.
Yeah, I'm just flicking through the thing.
Adel just flicking.
I'm like, where is he in this? I've literally been doing that for the last 5 minutes.
No,
I got you now. I got you.
Consummate lads.
Jealous much?
Legendary broadcasters.
It wasn't a helicopter, folks. Shrum jumped down from the safety of the tree. He shrumped down onto the ground.
What am I doing here?
And began lighting flares to attract attention to himself. Sensible. He thought that his friends had launched a rescue party to locate their missing companion. Finally, the white light turned in his direction, coming to a stop some 50 yards from the tree. He soon discovered that the object was not a helicopter at all. It was different from anything he had ever seen before. Now, frightened, he got back up in a tree for a bit of safety.
Makes sense.
Safe from everything but bears. Bears that get you up in a tree.
Yeah, especially bears on cocaine. I watched that documentary.
Is it good?
That's fine, but
real.
Well, like
exciting.
I think in real life the bear just died from taking cocaine fairly quick. In the movie,
did it happen? Like it actually did happen.
Very loosely based on a true story, where like
a bear got into coke.
He got into cocaine, had a heart attack, and they were like, "There's cocaine in this bear's system." Right. But in the movie, he takes cocaine, he just destroys everyone.
Right,
it's good. It's fun. Do you know, as a bear on cocaine, we would all imagine it's a lot of fun.
Good crack.
A lot of fun.
Shrum described the object as a cigar-shaped craft hovering in the sky. This shape is a common feature in UFO reports, though it contrasts with the more frequently mentioned saucer shape.
But cigars and Tic Tacs, I guess cigars and Tic Tacs are the same. That's becoming to prominence now with the UAP. We're seeing a lot more of that. You think Tic Tacs are funny, do you?
Cigars. This time we're talking about zesty.
Sometimes a cigar is only a cigar. Now, Freud would have said that there's all, you know, like the psycho, subconscious, psychosexual.
Young.
But now Jung wasn't as much of a sex person as Freud was. But Freud said sometimes a cigar is only a cigar, and he said sometimes there is no deeper meaning. Now the other thing is, Freud smoked a lot of cigars, and I believe he was protecting himself, because what would have been the sexiest psychosexual thing to think of? Yeah. Because what does a cigar represent?
Yeah.
You know? Did Freud, how did he feel?
Who knows, man?
I don't know.
But what I will say about this saucer is he didn't provide an exact measurement. He described it as large and imposing, visible from the vantage point. The mysterious light's behaviour took an unexpected turn. It seemingly responded to Shrum's actions, gradually shifting its trajectory towards his location before finally hovering to a stop. Approximately 50 yards away from the tree, so pretty close. 50 yards is not far, Eamon.
No.
Don't know much about yards.
No.
But I know that it's not far.
If you put your feet like that, is that like yards? Or is it
That's feet.
That's feet. What's a yard? How many feet in a yard?
if you measure with your feet.
Is that yards? No, that's feet.
That would be feet, I believe. No, I don't know.
3 feet to a yard, I'd say.
Is that it?
I'd say. If I had to gamble on it. What's your gait?
Your gait is your full stretch steps.
Like a lunge or just...
No, your gait. Yeah,
just normal steps. So that'd be like yardish.
Yard boys.
Yardies. Yard boys.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so it's all happening now. So your man's up in the tree. He can hear rustling in the forest. Doesn't know what's going on. He's thinking to himself, what's going on?
Yeah. As one does on the forest.
When you're by yourself up in a tree,
you always think that actually what's going on.
What's going on? I do. I think
have to be vigilant.
Every now and then I'd be in the middle of something and I pop my head up and I go, what's going on here?
And if you're not thinking that, you're dead.
You have to think, lads, what's going on?
In the woods, you have to ask yourself that all the time. As you're listening to this podcast,
you must first ask what's going on, and then more importantly go, what could be going on?
Why
am I wasting my time on this podcast?
I wouldn't listen. If I was in the woods on a walk, I wouldn't listen to my headphones. You know why?
Because you need to have all your senses at the
I'm wondering what's going on.
You'd be wondering what's going on, yeah.
I'm like, no, I can't have headphones in because I need to know what's going on here.
I need to know what's going on, yeah.
And, that's how you take in the day.
Sometimes you have to turn off the radio in the car and roll down the window so you can hear what's going on
Steve Ranella, man. I had to go out and
Steve Ranella, lovely fella. He'd be in the
I actually don't like Steve Ranella.
Everyone does.
Cool dude.
I'm thinking of Les Stroud. He was Survivor Man.
Yeah.
But Steve Ranella just survives, man.
Just eats meat.
Yeah. Oh, is he?
Meat eater.
Carnivore? Meat eater, yeah.
No, he eats everything.
Does he?
Pot noodles, no.
Elk and all.
Elk as well.
Loves a bit of elk.
Yeah. Cocoa noodles.
I wonder what Donald Shrum would have eaten.
Shrum up in his treehouse had he was probably eating beef jerky.
I'd say he's eating a bit of jerky. I think he ran out of food, and as we'll see, he's also going to run out of clothes. And
steady now, zesty boy.
Yeah. Woo.
Right.
So he's hearing this rustling in the trees, right? He doesn't know what's going on, and then all of a sudden, in the darkness, he sees 3 beings approaching him.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
You've come to fuck with me again. So 2 of them, right, seem kind of what we would refer to as humanoid. And the third was a robot.
Oh, class.
Okay, we're going to get into this. So he describes the 2 smaller entities of being about 4 feet tall with elongated arms and claw-like hands.
Right.
They were in... his account said that they were in kind of like chrome or white suits.
Yep.
And he said they had either like big black goggles or really saucer shaped eyes that were black. So adding to the mystery, the robot was said to emit a kind of a humming sound during the whole incident. If I could melt your heart.
It's quite good, isn't it?
That was pretty good, didn't it? That's coming from the back here. Do you have like some sort of implant in your mouth?
An alien. That's good as well.
That'd be more like the natural sounds.
Do both of them. I'll go.
Have to wet me lips, hang on. Pretty good. ASMR fuzz. It's a bad old episode. and again, just like Skinwalker Ranch, such a good
peak,
good
doesn't
content.
Get better.
And yes, so poor old Shrum now is Weetabixed all over himself. The 2 little fellas and the robot start to shake the tree.
Oh, yeah.
In an attempt to dislodge him.
My class.
Right? He's like, this is garbage. Oh, sorry, that's what Troy's probably not thinking that with a robot voice.
I am Osimo. Osimo.
Yeah. So this is pretty bad.
Right.
This is pretty bad. Then the robot opens its mouth. The robot looks kind of like a smaller version of the Iron Giant.
It does, yeah.
Yeah?
A little bit.
White vapor comes out of the robot's mouth.
Vape nice.
Rises up into the tree and it knocks out Donald.
Oh, wow.
It fucking knocks him out.
That's class.
Like 50% proof whiskey. It takes the
Full
fucking
cut.
edge off so much that he goes
It's like
out.
the fucking place. And you ever heard of that place in Ireland that is by the Viagra factory there, the Pfizer one? And the whole town are getting hard Mickeys.
Are they?
Yeah, true story.
From the fumes?
Yeah, from the fumes in the they're making Viagra in the plant just outside the little village, and everyone in the village just got big mad hard Mickeys on. It's true. It's a true story.
Sure?
Yeah, no, it's out there. Look it up.
Yeah. And can you sue people for giving you unwanted hard Mickeys?
Why would you want it?
Because when you're 60,
Why would you want it?
you're like, oh no.
Free Viagra.
Can I sue him?
Should I be moving there? Do you know what I mean?
I know I'm 40.
No harm in it, like.
Well, there might be. I'd imagine if you're taking Viagra the whole time, you're. It's like if you take anything and do stuff that the body needs to do.
True.
It goes, class, I don't need to do that
Yeah,
anymore.
true.
And now you need Viagra.
Then again, if you
forever.
live there forever, it's grand, like. Yeah.
Unless they close the plant down and they have a big floppy Mickey that can never get hard.
Should you just take Viagra?
That's how they keep their profits up.
That's true, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But no, that's
Classic big
so
pharma.
because of that story, we know that this is viable. That this robot could actually knock someone out with the vapor from
It's
its
the
mouth.
opposite.
Yeah,
It's like
works
the
the same.
anti-erection.
Yeah, it works the same principle. Science.
Principle airborne
Scientific.
tonics.
Yeah,
That'll take
scientific
you.
sort of.
Yeah,
stuff.
this is grade A science.
Yeah.
So the robot's like 6 to 7 feet tall. It's reflective metallic surface. It has mechanical arms. Now Donald Shrum, he wakes up, right?
Yep.
And he keeps, this happens basically all night. This is bizarre, right? So he wakes up, he discovers that the alien spaceship and its occupants are gone, but he's still left hanging from the tree.
Right.
And he's only supported by his belt.
Okay.
He's fallen asleep, keeping watch for them. But at the moment, they aren't there. Now, the robot itself, to look at, it had kind of glowing eyes, orangey eyes. Vapor came from out the jaws, square again, kind of like the giant. There he is. That's the picture of him. Squarish shoulders. He said that his the hands were like they were in medieval gauntlets.
Yes.
So maybe it was a cool suit. And the hood or helmet comes down over the shoulders. So there you go. It's a wonderful picture.
Yeah.
So Rob, yeah, he's blacked out. He's gone. But what happens when he wakes up?
When he woke up next, he discovered that they're gone. Oh yeah, okay, right. When he came to, he was nauseous, but began throwing lighted matches towards the beings. Wait, I thought they were gone.
Sorry, he blacked out. I didn't articulate that well. He blacks out, and when he wakes up, he thinks they're gone until he's like, so he's kind of he's doting a little bit.
He's doting, right? So when he came to, he was nauseous, but began throwing lighted matches towards the beings, which caused them to back away from the tree momentarily. Soon the assault continued. Lighted matches, that's not going to work. Finally,
wait till, because there's a part of this I haven't put in the notes,
Yeah.
but I'll get into it when you finish this paragraph.
Finally, Shrum managed to load and shoot an arrow at the invaders, which that actually hit the robot. The direct hit caused a spark to fly, indicating that the arrow had hit a metallic surface. He managed to shoot 2 more arrows at these beings, each time causing the group to scatter. Soon, a second robot joined the group, and again, Shrum was rendered unconscious by this strange white vapor coming from the entity's mouth.
So what Shrum starts doing here, right?
Right.
He starts setting fire to anything he can, right? Honestly.
Nice.
So he starts tearing off bits of his clothes. He's tearing off his hat. It's freezing cold. So the man's in a tree. He has a military belt that he's strapped himself to the tree on. He's a pair of pants. And he's basically tearing up his clothes, setting them on fire, and throwing it at the lads. Because now there's 2 robots down there.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Now, what beggars belief is that they have this spacecraft, effectively, but for some reason they can't get up a tree. Okay, so that's something to consider, I guess.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, we've got helicopters, but we can't get up a tree.
But you would, yeah. I guess. Look, you could be right. Donald Shrum.
When he woke again, the 2 humanoids were now climbing the tree. he managed to thwart this attack by throwing different objects at them and shaking the tree.
So the different objects are, they're terrified of fire for some reason.
Yeah.
But he's, tearing up his t-shirt, tearing up his hat, setting it on fire with a box of matches somehow. So I don't know if the man fucking soaks his clothes in gasoline or whatever.
Yeah, how would you even do that? You couldn't.
This is the official
Unless
narrative.
he had some, This scenario continued off and on for most of the night, so he was under siege to Port Crater. As dawn approached, more beings arrived, and this time sprayed him with large volumes of the same vapour. In the final attempt to stop himself from being taken, Shrum tied himself to the tree by his belt before the continuous vapour attack caused him to black out completely. Now, what I do like about this is 1964. This is quite a good account for 1964. Now, listen, gas warfare was all the rage back then, you know, but still very interesting.
Yeah, and I guess 1964 probably was a lot of like Forbidden Planet type.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you were in the space back then.
One of the things that we'll discuss at the end of this is while it comes out.
Was it Buck Rogers?
Buck Rogers at the Future Man.
Was he around
Buck
then?
Rogers, yeah. Buck Rogers is a good lad. But one of the things that'll come out is like some people say this might have been the Fae.
Oh.
And they were presenting as something that he could sort of understand from the TV, if that makes sense.
Buck Rogers.
Buck Rogers is a good show.
I was just looking at it.
I think I used to have a crush on the lady in that when I was like 7. Because I was extremely heterosexual when I was young, but as I got older then I turned a bit more
Actually,
gay.
do you know what? Like that robot actually quite looks like what he's describing.
Yeah, this is the thing. So there's one thing is like he's just making it up and it's a load of bollocks.
That lady's nice to be
Is she? Give me a look now. I haven't seen her since I was about 11. Oh yeah. Not yet, Buck. Not yet.
Yeah, not fair play to you, Buck.
Yeah. He did well, I think. Buck did. He's a good lad.
He did, yeah. When did that come out, Buck Rogers? That's what we need to figure out.
I'm pretty sure that was a 60s kind of an affair.
A lot of that stuff was just whack, wasn't it?
No, Buck Rogers.
No.
The film.
Right.
1979. So maybe it was, after.
All right. Yeah, no, it was, 1979. I don't know.
I'm sure there was lots of like all the stories,
The
like
Clangers.
Ray Bradbury and all that sort of shit like that. You know, the Twilight Zone.
The
all that sort of
Clangers.
stuff. The Clangers.
Yeah. Tell the people what happened there while I look up the Clangers.
So finally, he gets the massive vapor attack. Shinku vapor attack. When he awakes, he's barely hanging from the tree by his belt. But the beings are finally gone. So the sun has come up. It has risen. It's still quite dark. Now, fortunately for Shrum, he's soon rescued by the other hunters.
Class. And
they'd been searching for him after he failed to return to camp. So basically, he went out originally with Vincent Alvarez and Tim Trueblood, who were two guys that worked in the same place as him. Everyone has a class name. Donald Shrum, Tim Trueblood, and Vincent Alvarez.
Nice.
Sounds like a party on Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it does,
if Final Fantasy was set in Miami.
Yeah, it does.
So that's fine. But what had happened is he went up onto a ridge. So they were kind of calling each other, and they had said for him to come down and around the ridge. But as it can happen, especially in the American wilderness, he got kind of separated from the guys. So he'd been hunting for like over a decade. So he was well used to it. You're not allowed to, when they went out, you weren't allowed to use firearms, but he was very competent with a bow and arrow, as we saw from him shooting robot aliens.
Daryl Dixon.
He had a crossbow.
But
I'd say he'd be grand with an old bow and arrow as well. Daryl would have. Yeah, he likes Carol as well.
Yeah, Carol.
Carol. I think he did like Carol though, did he? But Carol was his lady friend.
Carol. Who's Carol?
Carol's the short hair.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant to each other.
I don't know. They liked each other, but I don't think they ever
See, ever had a love interest? So
in the new show, he got zesty with someone. But like it was a girl. But I'd say like in a zombie apocalypse, you take what's on offer, really, don't you?
All is goal.
Imagine being horned out of it in the summer. Yeah, that'd be a bad place to be actually. Where you're talking about, where the Cialis has everyone hard as granite.
Why?
During a zombie apocalypse,
Why?
I don't think you want to have a never-ending erection when you're trying to get away from this, because you won't be thinking straight.
No.
People don't ever tell you. They don't ever guide you in the ways of the Mickey, the mystic arts of the Mickey. You know, they tell you about, this is what happens when you get older. No one goes, that thing can fucking ruin your entire empire.
Yeah.
We need to keep it under control.
They should tell you.
They should tell you. They should say, listen,
Mine has seen
a
some
dog
sights.
isn't just for Christmas. All right, let's fucking go.
Mine has seen some sights. To be fair,
Your
but-
Mickey's seen some mad stuff. Your Mickey's like Sam Neill in Event Horizon.
there has been times where I've had to apologise.
Really?
Yeah. To it.
To your
Directly.
Mickey.
Yeah, directly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just be like, I'm sorry actually about that. I don't know what came over me. Apologies.
Yeah, look.
Best of luck. Hope you're alright.
Yeah. Sometimes he apologizes.
We'll see you in a couple of days.
He looks up. I didn't mean to. What are you doing? Like, what are you even doing?
Yeah.
Stop! Like, I'm trying to work. So anyway, yeah. So apparently Vincent Alvarez and Tim Trueblood. So they got separated. That was fine. The two lads went and camped out. They found him the next day, but they did report that they saw strange lights in the sky, which they thought were flares or signals.
Interesting.
From Shrum, you know, Alvarez described the lights as bright, erratic, and moving in unusual patterns. Unlike typical aircraft or flares, the lights hovered, darted, and moved in ways which seemed unnatural. But again, should we see this with the alien type stuff all the time? But you probably wouldn't have put too much of a pass on it.
No.
Both Alvarez and Trueblood became alarmed and tried to search for Shrum, but eventually decided to retreat back to their vehicles for safety.
Yep.
They reportedly spent the rest of the night in the car, watching the lights from a distance and speculating about their origin, but they're unaware that Shrum is having this terrifying encounter with robots and aliens, possibly.
Isn't it funny, right, that we've been doing this podcast for 5 years and we have never heard of this story?
Yeah,
It just goes to show you.
I did hear of it. It was actually, weirdly enough, this is in a missing 411.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So I had heard of it, but I had never heard of it properly. I had never actually looked into the specifics behind it. There's a book that came out. We don't have the notes here. We can talk about it a bit afterwards. But a guy basically decades after this happened. So Shrum didn't work for a long time. Blah 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 blah.
Traumatized you, you know.
Kind of had an awful. Yeah, I'd be fairly traumatized after it. But he, this guy basically. So apparently there was stuff where the arrowhead that hit the robot was given the government were looking at it and all sorts of stuff. Never got it back. I don't know.
What does it all mean?
What does it all mean indeed? But I was thinking then about Cisco Grove, and as we were talking about, people have said that this could have been the Fae that masqueraded or took on the form of these kind of robot aliens, because he would have been used to that from the media. So I tried to figure out if there's any other mad stuff going on in Cisco Grove, Rob.
Well, look, it's a good job I have the answers here for you, Eamon, because I'm somewhat of a genius.
I'm thankful for that.
The Sierra Nevada mountains, including the Cisco Grove area, have long been associated with reports of unusual sights in the sky. And they're attributed to natural phenomena. We would say that they are high altitude air currents or the area's clear night skies. But some locals or visitors have speculated about ETs. Stories of strange moving lights, especially in our mountain ridges, continue to circulate among campers and hikers. The vast, rugged wilderness of the Tahoe National Forest has been the site of unexplained disappearances. While most can be attributed to the challenging terrain and weather conditions, some cases remain mysterious and have fueled speculation about supernatural causes. So the US National Park comprises of over 400 sites, including parks, forests, seashores, I thought that said seahorses there for a second.
Seahorses, yeah.
And monuments, with millions of visitors annually. It is uncommon for some people. It's not uncommon for some people to go missing. Each year, there's up to 2,000 people that are reported missing in these national parks and forests across the US. Though exact numbers can vary depending on sources.
There's no actual
concrete
proper system,
step by step report.
Exactly, so it doesn't integrate.
That can happen. So the area around Cisco Grove was originally inhabited by Native American tribes, watch out, including the Washoe and Maidu people. These groups have oral traditions that speak of spirits, tricksters, and sacred mountain areas. Some legends describe beings in the woods who could mimic voices or lure people off trails.
Again, that's very Fae-ish.
Yeah, absolutely.
The trickster entities and
acting the bollocks.
Acting the bollocks.
The dense forests around Cisco Grove are part of a larger Sierra Nevada region, and that's a hotspot for Bigfoot. It's not as famous as other Bigfoot regions. There are occasional reports of large hairy cryptids from that area, from hikers and campers. And yeah, they talk about knocks, whoops, all that shit.
Yeah.
Trees being ripped up.
So it's, yeah. And then, like I said, so this happens in the 60s. Decades pass. Someone goes out to basically try and get more information. So there's a book that's been written about it.
Yeah.
Which it goes into a lot more depth, and he kind of tells the story. I believe that this guy, so while he worked kind of painting spacecraft, aircraft, I believe he became a cop eventually, I think.
Watch
he
out.
Passed away relatively recently. There's a lot of like tributes to him online.
In this circle.
Not even in this circle. You can just find them online. Cause like when I was looking for him, I came across the tribute to him. But I was checking to see if people would write stuff about this encounter, but they didn't. Obviously, you probably want to be a bit more respectful than that. Well, you'd imagine on the internet, it's not always a place to find respect.
No, but, especially if you're listening to this podcast.
If you're into this, this podcast. But yeah, it's a really weird story. And this is one of those stories. I've said it before about a lot of this stuff where it would benefit from seeing him tell his tale. Yeah, and I think there was the book, obviously.
Yeah,
but I don't know if there's any, or if there is, I didn't look at them. I don't know if there's any actual interviews
video
talking about it. Yeah, there may be on YouTube. I didn't look into it, but it's a cool story. Like just the fear of that. Like if you could imagine you're in a place where you're going, right, there's wild animals here that might kill me. It's bad enough being alone in a forest and knowing you have to wait, 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours for the sun to come back up. To climb up a tree to hopefully escape being eaten by a predator, to then be
attacked by robots.
Cyber robot aliens.
Can
you imagine the fear?
That fire out gas.
But imagine being up in the tree. And he had apparently he had lit 3 little fires to kind of just, if someone might see him or if the guys might come and get him. And when the robots were coming in, they would stop and look at like the fauna as if they hadn't seen it before.
Right.
And then they stamped out the embers and like kind of curiously. So they kind of like, and obviously they were quite afraid of the fire as well as he was burning his clothes and firing them down to them. So it's a bizarre story.
It's up there with what's it called? Not the melon heads. What was the one? The little people attacking the house, kind of people.
The Hopkinsville.
Goblins.
Yeah, it's and it was one of the
similar
podcasts I listened to get a bit more information on this. They likened it to that as well. It's very similar, except you're kind of under siege. In a house rather than up a tree, and I don't know which one is better or worse.
I take being in a house.
The vapor thing is really frustrating.
Yeah,
like the fact that he's trying to ward off these aliens.
It's a new take.
Yeah, an old new take.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, again, like, look, the issue I think sometimes with older stories is, well, it's not an issue, but we weren't around at the time, so we don't know if there was anything in the zeitgeist of like some kind of robot tin men that had gas mouths. Because like if you were, you'd be like, they're like, that's. He watched fucking Buck Rogers.
Like, I definitely think.
But I don't
1964.
There was a lot of sci-fi.
Yeah, there would have been like sci-fi is getting big from the 50s, and the robot he's seen is a kind of a typical quintessential 60s
tin man
robot.
But
the other thing as well is that, like, we talked about the Sandtown clown and that sort of stuff. And if it is, let's say, more of a liminal thing rather than, but then again, they didn't really have the Tic Tacs bac in the 60s, did they? The cigar shaped UFO, like there was more saucers back.
See, this is one of them things where someone would be in the comments go, they had Tic Tacs.
They definitely had them, but like flying saucers is like the eye. So you'd wonder why he didn't see a saucer.
That's true.
Why he saw a Tic Tac.
That's true. That's very true.
And I think that, if it is a
salient
thing,
observation.
I need so much oxygen for my big brain.
You do.
But Yeah, or is it just a thing? Like, even the fact they say Bigfoot is seen there, is that possibly, again, the Fae manifesting as something else? Because when did the Patterson-Gimlin footage come out? Was that 70s?
No, 60s.
That's 60s. Is it before? Is it before?
Around
64?
that time, actually.
Yeah,
I think.
so maybe it's all...
I think it is 60s. I'm 90% certain it's 60s.
It's a really bizarre... It seems... He seems like, from what I've heard about, it doesn't seem massively... People don't seem massively skeptical about him telling the story.
Okay.
But then again, in this fucking circle, does anyone seem skeptical about anything? It's kind of all like, yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting story, though.
It is very interesting, sighting or shiting, though. I'll let you answer first.
Yeah, probably. I mean, like, I'd have to probably go with shiting. But even as I say that, there's a part of me that goes, no, that probably happened. There's a weird part of me that's always present. You can't believe in metaphysical Bigfoot without believing in metaphysical alien robots.
Yeah, I just love to talk to him so that I could kind of gauge whether he's just made up some throwaway fun story just after the crack, or whether he's actually. Well,
I was kind of wondering, could he have had some sort of? Because I know, like, you're not going to eat mushrooms. Like, the three of them go out hunting.
Yeah,
they were actually eating mushrooms. But you wouldn't see this stuff. You just might have it going on in your head somehow, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me just see, is there anything? I'm just curious to see if there's anything on YouTube. We won't listen to it, but like...
Yeah, illegal.
Is that illegal?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
See if he did interviews. There's probably because some podcasts probably contacted him, as they often do. And maybe
there's a thing here, Donald Shrum talks about his UFO encounter.
Right.
But I don't think it's not, and now there's lots of Donald Trump stuff.
Well, I tell you what we'll do. We will watch that, both of us, and we will come back next mini fuzz, and we'll talk a little bit about that at the start of the episode. There's a lot of
it's kind of hard to get loads of information about it, because like that's effectively the whole story. Yeah. So a lot of the videos on it are like 20 minutes long.
That's fine. It's just you just want to hear from him, I suppose, and see what the crack is.
Yeah. And I don't even know if he talks about it to South Cisco Grove, and I got to sell it. Yeah. No, it is. It's him talking about it. I'm just looking at the...
There you go.
So we'll talk about that next week.
Tune in next week, where I'll give you my sighting or shiting verdict. We'll leave it there. Sleepy now than I am.
What time is it now? Must be coming up near 12, and I've said 11:30. To be fair, 11:30, not too bad.
Yeah, sleepy.
I get home now, I'll have a sit down on my couch, and I'll go, I hope I don't see any robot aliens. And then I'll go to bed. And then
I'm gonna go and watch my Shinarui.
Is it out?
Trailer. I'd imagine so.
I checked during the break.
You bastard.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It will be out. I know that it might be out until tomorrow morning for us, but it's, I think, 7 p.m. Eastern. Or no. Yeah. 7 p.m. Eastern time in America. So it will be out.
How many people do you think who are listening know who my Shiranui is?
More should.
She's kind of like the Chun. She's the Chun-Li of SNK.
Yeah, that's
still people are scratching their heads.
Thanks for clarifying.
Still, I scratch my head.
No, what I would, it's getting essential now for the Monster Fuzz lore that all of our listeners have to be at least gold rank on Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, and they have to at least know the lore of Final Fantasy 7 if they haven't completed it.
Yeah. As a matter of fact,
and have played through all the mainline Resident Evil games.
I might do that on Patreon. I might start offering boot camp, Monster Fuzz boot camp, where we have to get the gold rank. Why
don't you start doing videos on how to play Street Fighter?
I'm not that good yet.
Yeah, but just pretend.
I know.
Just be like, look at this. That was some good.
No, I've already said. I said last week. I'm gonna murder one of the Irish lads on the competitive scene. I'm gonna kill him in front of everyone. I'm gonna take his head.
He's not talking about the game either.
No. Yeah, if he gets fresh with me now, I'm gonna bait one of them lads. I'm gonna let them do their little thing, and I'll I'm going to catch up with him, batter him. Do their little cute thing where they're all doing little shits and all.
Oh, I'm +2 on block.
Yeah, I'm going to catch him. I'm going to catch him. They don't know that yet. No. And that's good. I'd rather they didn't know that. Yeah. And then I'm going to catch him, batter him in front of everyone.
In the darkness.
I'm going to batter him in front of everyone.
Rob is the one who
and
knocks.
I'm not going to be using a little fucking fight stick.
Use a control pad.
My binds on my fight stick. Oh,
doesn't need
I need my switches. I'll kick the shit out of them. Leverless. I need my custom leverless box. I beat the shit out of him with a fucking whacked out fucking PS5 controller. Yeah. Get fucked. I'll use a Street Fighter fucking 4 hoary pad for the 360.
Sega Saturn pad to destroy him.
Watch out. It's coming.
No, lads.
I told you. I said
I thought this episode couldn't get any worse. Here we are.
It's just me calling out the professional Street Fighter scene.
For everybody in the Irish FCG
fucking
scene.
Bitches. Right, no, we'll leave it there. Sorry, folks. I got carried away there. I just love Street Fighter. If you want to get on the Patreon, Street Fighter there, no. Send an emails.
It's getting hard, guys. It's getting harder and harder to do this.
I've been Rob.
I've been Avid.
Monster Fuzz over and
Hadouken.
out. Boom, boom, boom.